Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I want to share something with you that's absolutely weird and funny. I'm 68 years old this month. 30 years ago, I believe 1988, I was 38 years old. And I made my first attempt to become President of the United States. The reason is because I had received a vision. I call it from heaven because it was so fantastic and so great. For those of you who don't think it was from God, then maybe it just came out of me for you. But it was fantastic. It offered peace and prosperity and happiness in America in such a way that it had never, ever been understood or experienced in my lifetime. And I'm sure yours as well. I got no one interested. I don't remember now if I tried to get in as a Democrat or whether I ran as a write-in. I know several times since then I ran as a write-in. And you know, the reason that people turned off, I don't know if it was because I was black. I don't know if it was because I didn't have any money or because I didn't have any political experience. Well, to make the world beautiful, to make America beautiful, doesn't call for political experience. It calls for system change. It calls for desire by the people of this nation. Anyway, didn't work. I believe the next time election came around, Bill Clinton ran for president. And Bill Clinton was such a smooth talker till I just listened to him. I don't know if I ran during that time or not. If I did, it was as a write-in. He was such a smooth talker, and I hoped that he would be real. I went to a couple of his gatherings, and I was very impressed. I really hoped. But having hope, you know what hope is? An unanswered prayer. Because it didn't do anything. And I believe one of those times, I don't know when Jesse Jackson ran, people here in Minnesota white people, were excited about Jesse. They wanted Jesse to win. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them. I would go and I'd tell them I wanted to be president, and I would want to tell them why. And they just say, well, Jesse. Well, I ended up trying to travel across the country in an old broke down car. I remember the day that Jesse Jackson withdrew and gave it up to the caucus. I stopped somewhere, my car stopped somewhere in Wisconsin, broke down. And I was driving without a license. I ended up going to jail. The cops stopped me, and well, the cops didn't stop me. They came over and saw that I was incapacitated. They wanted some license and stuff like that. I didn't have it, so they arrested me that evening. I was released the next day by the judge, having given them my story. And ladies and gentlemen, since then, I ran for governor of the state. All I wanted to do was get you free, get some freedom to you, to give you something I knew that you pray for every day, but you're never going to get, and you didn't know why. Well, later on in this period of time, I got a revelation that the American Christians and the American people were on the path to hell. I didn't want to tell the people that because I know people. They don't want to hear that. And so I try to shape it up and say, a walk through life from hell to paradise. We all go through life. And it can be rough for everybody sometimes. But if we just keep on hanging on, maybe we can come up out of the waters and breathe again. Well, that didn't work. I had radio broadcasts. I had cable access broadcasts. I spoke on street corners. I had pamphlets and brochures and CDs and DVDs passed out all over during this time, trying to let the people know that I had a message of liberation. They didn't hear it. I even committed some crimes against the elite and ended up in jail as an effort to get the people to focus just for a minute on me, so I can give them the message and explain to them that what I wanted for them was so assured that I took a chance where if they rejected it, I'd give my time in jail. And they rejected it. They didn't even pay any interest. I did time in jail. I even spent time in prison during the 2000 election. But I still haven't given up, because what I have came from God. And it is a blessing from God to you. And it's a guarantee because you play a part in it. And so when I hear all these other candidates talking about what they can do and you listen to them, I can't believe it. All your life, people have been telling you what they're going to do for you and have done nothing but told you a blatant lie. A blatant lie. And you still keep trusting in them. They have some of the lying, especially during this time, moralist people that you can imagine running the country. And you allow them to get in. You know they're no good. You know they're no good. And you sit there and put them in office and hope that they are going to do something for you. And when you start seeing that they are not going to do something for you, then you start hoping that some of the other public servants. You remember when General Clark came into the office with Donald Trump and you started hoping that he was going to keep Donald Trump in line? And he told you that wasn't his job. His job was not to keep Donald Trump in line. And now most of the people are hoping that Mueller is going to straighten out the situation. The power, ladies and gentlemen, is not there. He might do a little this, a little that, but it's not going to change anything. The power is in your hand. Now, I tell people often that the reason that you respond the way you do is because you don't know any better. I've talked to ministers who sometimes will start talking about the people. Why the people won't grow up. Why the people won't do this. Why the people won't do that. The word says this and the word says that. And I tell them that the people respond the way they do because they don't know any better. So stop getting on their backs. If they knew better, they would do better. Even these preachers, they don't understand. If they knew better, they would do better. They talk about God's love. And here I am coming to the whole nation saying about God's love is ready to manifest itself today, but it needs your help. And not a single one of them, in all of these years, not a single preacher has embraced the message. In fact, not a single preacher even know the message. Though I put it on CDs and DVDs and got it on YouTube and Facebook, not a single one of them have listened to it. They don't even want to hear it. Why? Because I don't fit the mold of what they think is required. And so I sit back and I keep speaking out and I watch the pain and suffering keep spreading. I watch the ship setting straight on down in the rabbit hole, taking all of you guys to hell. And I'm waiting to see if anybody is going to wake up before they get to hell. But no, at this point, nobody's waking up. But ladies and gentlemen, let me give you an idea of what I mean when I say you don't understand. I got a little Jitsu, little dog. And this dog loves to go walking, and sometimes I just don't feel like it. So I take this dog in there to a treadmill. And this dog don't want to get anywhere close to that treadmill. So if I pick him up and hold him in my arms while I walk on the treadmill, if I take him after a period of time and just sit him on the treadmill when the treadmill is not moving, just so he can get acquainted with sitting on it, well, it's a sheep. And then maybe turn it on very slow and hold her up so she can do her feet movements. Maybe she'll get it. She will get it in time. But up until that time comes, she's fighting that treadmill. She don't want to have to do anything to do with that treadmill. And every last one of you know that that dog will be able, in time, to walk on that treadmill. You know dogs walk on treadmills every day. But this dog doesn't know that. This is a strange thing to this dog. And this dog is not ready to walk on that treadmill. She don't care what I say or what I'm doing. That's the way you are. Somebody talking to you about peace, which means justice. Somebody talk to you about prosperity, which means all of you sharing. When talk to you about happiness, you want this, but you're expecting a miracle. You say, oh, human beings can't do that. It's going to take Jesus to come down off the cloud and whip everybody. All these people who don't understand, you want them to get a beating by Jesus and do it for you. Why? Because you went to church. Because many of you stopped smoking and stopped drinking and stopped chasing the opposite sex. At least you want the rest of the community to think that you did. Some of you still doing it. And because of that, some of you teach Sunday school. Some of you sing in the choir and preach. Now you think you are qualifying for Jesus to come down out of the clouds and snatch you up and protect you and beat the daylights out of everybody by sending them straight to hell. And that's what you're actually waiting on to happen. It's not going to happen that way, because everybody here have choice. And everybody here is confused because we've always lived opposite of the way of peace. Now, the way of peace is so simple that you just, oh, it's too simple. You can't believe that. Well, the Lord God Almighty, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, have prepared us as individuals that all of us, each of us, have the same essentials for survival. Food, clothing, and shelter. Education will help us to move on up, do more things, be able to be more involved. Healthcare to protect us from the sickness and the disease. And the materials to work with to make sure that this stuff can be met has already been given. It's in the earth. The earth is as a womb. Like your mother, when you were in your mother's womb, everything you needed was in that womb. You didn't have to do anything, just lay down. In the earth is like a womb. Everything you need is already given. But in order for you to experience it, you have to do something. You can't lay around in your mama's womb. You just can't lay around in the earth. You got to work. But it's not just any work. Because you've each been given a gift. And whatever it is that you love to do, your dream, not if it's playing football, basketball, being an architect, being a teacher, whatever it is, whatever you love doing, this is what is required of you, to engage yourself, to participate in the creative process of manifesting enough goods, enough services that every individual, not just in America, but on the earth, can have what is desired, wanted, and needed. Wanted and needed. That's God's gift. And you have to do this. You have to guarantee it to one another by not allowing someone from some secret society who got their own secret ambitions come in and lie to you, trick to you, and abuse you and exploit you for the things that is of their interest, has nothing to do with you. You got to keep that out. People come to you with these strange policies that would cause pain and suffering anywhere. Whether it's for a black, or whether it's for a white, whether it's for a man, whether it's for a woman, whether it's for an old person, whether it's for a child, if it's going to cause pain and suffering for any of them, you the people must say no way, because to do that means it can happen to you. And you fight that stuff off. Now you know that is as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, or ABC. And this, my friends, is the God's way. It doesn't take 1,000 books, rules, and regulations. It doesn't even take the Bible. It says 2, 3 things. Love God. That means recognizing that you didn't make yourself. You were made by another power. You don't know if it's a man, a woman, a spirit, what. But love God. And the only way you can prove that you love God is by respecting what God has made. That is, by doing unto others as you would have others do unto you. They said that's the second commandment. And the third is, don't let anything mess it up. Don't let anything come in there and screw it up. That's heaven. Simple heaven. But you got to change the system. The system, what you're going under the Constitution, all that system doesn't work. This is a new system. It's a simple system. A very simple system. And it is so easy, my friends. And not only will you be satisfied, everybody will be satisfied except the devil. Because the devil will still keep trying to find some way to come in there and trick you. The devil will still try to find some way to divide you. The devil will still try to find some way to mess you up. But if you're committed to God by being committed to one another, they can't do nothing. He has no power, none whatsoever. Your sovereignty is there, and it cannot be shaken unless you make the choice to allow it. Now, I say these things to you because I've asked the people of the state of Minnesota to let me be the replacement for Al Franken. That means I got to convince the people here in Minnesota that what I have just mentioned to you is the best thing for them. And they have to change their mind. They have to be like that little puppy who don't want to walk on this treadmill. They're going to have to stand up and take a chance and walk on this treadmill and start making this stuff happen. And it would require that to happen before I can get to Washington. And when I get to Washington, having gotten these people to understand here in Minnesota, my focus is on the people for these other states. Because these congressmen, these representatives have already been bought. They're not going to want to hear what I got to say. It is the people in every state, in every city, in every town who are praying for their dreams to come true, who want to experience peace, who don't want their kids going to fight a war, killing and being killed, who don't want to worry about can they get health care, can they have Social Security. They don't want to have to worry about any of these things. They keep praying for it, praying for it. But they too are going to have to be willing to take a chance and put those steps on that treadmill. Not just believing in me, but believing in themselves. Believing that the spirit of truth that I share with them is capable of working in them, and let them pick up their feet and put them down and walk on this treadmill and see what the mighty power of God can do for them. And Trump can't do it. Putin can't do it. Man in North Korea can't do it. Man in China can't do it. You got to do it for yourself. It was made to be done like that. Now, if you can't see that, I have to excuse you because you don't know any better. If you knew better, you do better. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.